Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Black Desert Online. I'm your host, the Darkseid, and guess what we have today? Very special video. At least for me, it's the creation of Darkseid in Black Desert Online, as close to as I what I could do. So what I chose to do here was I was running around already with my character named Darkseid as a warrior, but to be honest with you guys, I really wasn't enjoying the play, and I really couldn't connect to the character the way I could connect to Grail because the story was there for me with Grail, but it wasn't quite the look of Darkseid that I wanted inside there. So I decided I was going to recreate it. And I really didn't think it was going to be possible. My wife is more the art, she's really the more artistic person. So I decided to enlist her help, and we were able to get what I like to think is a pretty cool representation of Darkseid inside the Black Desert Online world. So, for those of you who are not aware, and for those of you who don't care, if you don't care, really just stop watching this video now. For those of you that are interested, Darkseid is a fictional supervillain inside the DC universe. I would say that he's really pretty much Superman's baddest DC villain or his arch nemesis. But to be honest, Darkseid is a global threat. So oftentimes when he's shown fighting the Justice League or some, amalgamation of what the team is. There's usually never just one person fighting Darkseid. It's normally multiple individuals because he literally is just that much of a badass. Jack Kirby created Darkseid way back when, and he created the entire fourth world. Um, Basically, he wanted to make a villain for Superman that would serve as the main protagonist. So he created Darkseid, and you're gonna notice right away. A lot of people will say that Darkseid looks very similar to Thanos. That's not without reason, and it's a really interesting story with Jim Starlin and the creation of Thanos. So just think about it. Think about it as a homage. Basically, Darkseid is a fascist megalomaniac kind of ruler, and basically what he is seeking to do is he wants to rule the entire universe, and his means of doing so constantly throughout the DC universe's history has been to find the anti-life equation, which he believes will be able to allow him to bring the entire of humanity and the universe to heal by basically controlling their will. In the series of There was a series that was done, the Final Crisis, prior to this new 52 universe that we currently have in the DC universe, where he actually went about doing such. And it was really interesting because in that whole series, they were basically able to tie in Grant Morrison's previous incarnations of, Darkseid as they were humans and put them more into the mainstream. Darkseid was a human and he ended up finding the anti-life equation and he tried to take over the world. It was a really interesting series in some respects and really poor in others. The only thing that pissed me most about the series was when he used his Omega effect. I mean, Darkseid about the series was when Darkseid used his Omega effect in order to nullify Bruce Wayne or Batman, and Batman got sent through the time stream and came back later on in order to help him. Weird as fuck, but it happened anyways. In this current incarnation, unfortunately, Darkseid's fucking dead. I was like, yo, what the hell? Like, I'm pissed about this. Darkseid's dead. Yes, so DC Universe decided they were going to kill off Darkseid in October of 2015. Well, they probably made that decision long before that, but that was when we actually saw the death of Darkseid. And so in Justice League #1 inside the DC Universe is when we first get introduced to this new Darkseid that's going to appear in the now current incarnation of the DC Universe, and it's basically his name is mentioned like a boogeyman in the night by a parademon who's gotten here by a boombox. In Justice League #4, we finally actually get to see Darkseid appear, which is really really cool. Although the design has changed just a little bit from not just a little bit, fuck that, it has changed drastically and dramatically depending on how you feel about Darkseid. Yeah. So finally, Darkseid is driven back in Darkseid in Justice League #6 after these two great chapters and panels drawn by great artists. And it was really interesting, really interesting. But we found out in that story that pretty much Darkseid came to Earth looking for his daughter. His daughter is Grail, and I gave you that whole story. So if you're interested, look in the description, and I've got some things on there about Grail. If you're not, then yeah, that's not for you. So basically, in this continuity, Darkseid's basically trying to find his daughter. Like, you don't really think of Darkseid trying to find his daughter, but the only reason why he's trying to find her is because she's in means to him taking over the world. Her abilities kind of amplify based on him, which is really weird. But Darkseid is doing this. So later on in the DC universe, what we actually end up having is Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor fighting this battle against each other. And Darkseid is unfortunately killed in that battle. Yeah, fuck you say. They killed Darkseid. It was like, yo, this was like one of the saddest moments in my whole entire nerdom. Darkseid was killed. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I have no. There's nothing left for me to say about it. I was really, really disappointed with it. It was one of those things where you just kind of get into it and you be like, what the fuck am I supposed to do from here? Like, he was literally my favorite villain of all time. I don't think that there's ever been another villain inside any kind of mythology that I loved as much as I did Darkseid, which is just weird. But so Darkseid is probably the most powerful of DC Universe's villains. He's kind of slipped through the time streams here and there, and but not for Warner Brothers or DC having shit movies, we are kind of confused as to how he has not appeared. Hopefully, with the release of the news that Justice League is actually going to get made and is going to be effective, and we already got Doomsday inside the Batman versus Superman movie releasing next weekend. We're probably going to see Darkseid. Hope to God we're going to see Darkseid in the Justice League movie. This would be a great thing for the for the DC universe to do, is to pick up Darkseid and have him there. Darkseid basically has super strength. He's invulnerable. He's damn near nigh immortal, much like most of the Fourth Gods are. He's a Billy badass. He has control of the Omega effect, Omega beams, which allows him to kill individuals or just disintegrate them in totality, or as we saw in Final Crisis, put them in displace them in time, which is really, really cool. I couldn't even describe to you how cool Darkseid is. I would highly suggest reading him. If you played the video game Injustice Gods Among Us, Injustice Gods Among Us, Injustice Gods Among Us, you actually got to see Darkseid inside that game as well, and you actually got to play with him. It's probably the only reason why I played the game in the first place. But it was really cool to get to see him inside that game and his little, their little take on that, and I really did enjoy that. So when I started creating the character inside Black Desert Online, part of the reason why it was a little bit difficult for me to do was because I just didn't really think that it was going to be possible. I really did not. At first, I didn't think of any general character model that would probably work for Darkseid, because there's unlike most other DC other games, you don't really, other like MMORPGs, there's not really skin textures in this game where you can make people like glowy red brick or anything like that. So it was going to really get a little bit difficult. So what I decided to do instead was I was going to just make him a very, very dark skin color. Darkseid has a very rock-like skin texture to him, and it's kind of gray. It's like a muted, toned down blackness that's gray. It's not quite gray, but it's toned down in between there. The hues are there. Right, so what I decided I was going to do was just going to use the Berserker instead, because as I started playing Calibot, the character that I created for him, and I haven't done a video for that one yet, his son, I started noticing, maybe I could actually do something in order to create Darkseid. In that vein, I was like, I'll just make him a very dark toned skin color, and I'll see what the blackest skin color they have in the game available is. That was pretty much what we have here, is the darkest skin color I thought I could make. The next problem was like, how do you really get that Darkseid face going on where you want to make it look very menacing? You want to kind of make it look, I don't know, you want to make his face at the very least look this menacing Darkseid look to it. The eyes were pretty easy once I figured out how to do it with Grail, and I was able to increase the size of the iris, I think it was. Yeah, so I increased the size of the iris, and then I chose the reddest color possible inside the palette. And that got me for the eyes. It was really good looking there. I thought the body looked really well. And then I was like, well, I guess this is all I'm going to be able to do, because there's not very much left else to do. And then my wife was like, why don't you try to use some of the tattoos? And I was like, the fucking tattoos aren't going to work. There's no way that's going to actually work. And surely, but, steadfastly, it did work. It was really surprising. So what I did was, after I got the face kind of looking like the structure that I think Darkseid looks like, I went through some of the facial tattoos that he had available to them, that we had available for use, and playing with the density, playing with the shine, and playing with the colors that you're able to do, I was able to use I'm going to call it the tiger tattoo face paint. I was able to use that in order to get this very dark effect look that was on there, and by playing with the shine was able to make some of the skin look more like it was ripply, and like etched, I guess is the best way to say, and that helped out fucking tremendously, loads. So once I was able to do that, I didn't have a very smoothed out layered face with these etched skins, but it still didn't quite have that texture to it that I wanted to actually have in order to make it feel like Darkseid. The face was there, but that texture, that quality wasn't there. It didn't look quite menacing. Well, that's when I used the wrinkles. And I know a lot of people probably stare around the wrinkles because you want a younger looking character. But part of me understanding the way the wrinkles were working was when I made my video for creating the wizard inside the game, and I was trying to make him look younger. Which thank you guys for the feedback on. So what I did was I used the wrinkles in this character in order to kind of give him more texture to his face, and blended with the tattoo, it made it even better. So I used that same logic in order to get to the tattoos on the body and try to make his body look like the same kind of etched features and so forth. And I think I did pretty well. You guys let me know what you think of it. I think I got it there pretty much, or as best to close as I was gonna get it. The face I'm sold on. There was no way. The really cool part about the face and the tattoo is that when I used the tiger, I noticed that paint for the tiger actually went pretty far back to his head and pretty far low, but I couldn't get it quite along the neck, which is gonna probably appear as well. But the skin color worked out really well. What I was able to do was I was able to put highlight hair ends on him to kind of get that more metallic, I guess, look that the face had, and the darkness, the dark light contrast to give it that texture. I think I did a pretty decent job. I would love to know what you guys think of it. I was able to use some of the eyeliners to make reddish eye lines to make it look more like a smoky effect from his eyes that Darkseid is usually accompanied with, because those Omega beams are just constantly trying to burn out his skull. It seems like. Um, but overall, I'm pretty stoked with where the video, with how the video, excuse me, how the character creation turned out and the look that I was able to get with Darkseid. I had to play around with the face shaping tool quite a bit. Played around with some of the beards and things like that, but ultimately I was able to get it done, and I'm pretty excited about that. If there's enough people that actually want this character creation, I'm not that keen on giving it out. But look, the fucking video is created, so there's gonna be people that's gonna run around with this stuff at some point, anyways. But if you want the customization data, I'll actually post it on the page. I'll put it in Dropbox or some shit like that, so that way I can post it up there so people can go grab it if that's what you guys want to do. But let me know. I would love to hear feedback on what you guys think of my Darkseid creation. I'm gonna try to post some pictures inside this for comparison. I think one of the newest images that I've seen, like a movie still that somebody was a fan still. I think that one was the one I used the most in order to kind of get the facial look of Darkseid. But yeah, again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, please like, subscribe, and comment. Definitely comment. I would love to know what you guys think about this Darkseid creation that I was able to pull off. I'm pretty ecstatic about it, so in the end, I'm not going to care that much. I'm not going to go back and change it just because you guys said something. But I would like to know what you guys think, and I'm looking forward to kind of playing around with the character creation tool a little bit more in order to create some of my other favorite characters from the DC universe. Well, guys, until next time, as always, have fun.